you ready? It's the Roundtable with me, Robert Bannon.
We're packed up. We're ready to go. We're moving on. The Roundtable. Moving out. Our last show from New Jersey before we hit the Motor City. Hi, everybody, and welcome to a very special Roundtable. The boxes are packed. The tape is out. We're hitting the road, everybody. Welcome to the Roundtable number 115 on a Thursday. This would, we're just taking it on the road. But don't you worry, we'll be right back here next Thursday, right here on the Roundtable. New brick wall, brand new shows, brand new adventures. So don't miss 1 second. Hi, everybody. My name is Robert Bannon. Thanks for watching us. We're on YouTube. We're on Facebook. It actually worked. It worked. Last 2 weeks, the connection to YouTube backfired, but we actually made it. So, hey, and we fixed Facebook, and we are actually a show again. People are actually watching again. Hi, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Yes, Marie says, hello, Robert. The Instagram pre-chat was hilarious. More people need to join that. If you don't know, every single episode of this show at 6:30 Eastern time over on Instagram, and you can follow me at Robert M. Bannon or go to the other page, which is the Roundtable. It is a little ridiculous. It's a little nutty. It's a little over the top. More people need to join that. Christine says, hello, Robert. Greetings to the Roundtable family. Yes, fun pre-show on IG. Some days they drag. Some days I have nothing to say. And then some days when I'm feeling good and excited that I get to see you all, I missed you all. And I'm happy you're here. There's the Detroit himself, Darius Wheeler. Hello, everybody. That's why we're going to Detroit. Building a life and starting all over. Look at this. My mother said to me, how are we going to pack this? I will never get rid of these. Are the flowers that he gave me when I got engaged, and they're dried. And my mom was like, what are we going to do with them? Take them? Are you kidding? These are my engagement flowers. They came from Detroit to New Jersey, and guess what? They're going right back to Detroit. My mother says, woohoo, hi, honey, and everybody. Hi, moms. How are you? Darius says, hi, mom. Alyssa was part of the pre-show. Don't congratulate Alyssa on a baby, because Alyssa has a 1-year-old baby, even though I said that she just had a baby. But that's a story for, if you weren't there, you wouldn't know. So you should have joined us over on the Instagram at 6:30 every time we do a show. Go there and then come join us here with this kooky, crazy cast. We have a great show for you all today. I'm excited for you to be here. Thank you all so much for being here. I'm going to ask you today for your hot take. What are we going to do? What do you do when you have to take a long road trip? So as you may know, and this is Christine says hi to Mama Rose and Darius and Marie and Alyssa and everybody. And Alyssa says it feels like yesterday. So here's our hot take question while I tell you about my weekend review. Here we go.
It's smoking.
So what do you do? What do you do when you have a long car ride? Do you have car ride games and ideas? I haven't taken a long car ride in a long time. So we're going to go on a long car ride, and I'll tell you all about it next week on the Roundtable. So I hope that you can tell us ideas. What do you do? Some of you take the train or take a plane. So are you binge watchers? Do you have a favorite playlist? Is there an artist we should listen to? Should we play 20 questions? Should we play that Beetle game where you punch people? And, so tell me, what's your ideas of what we should do? And when we're done with Weekend Review, I'll tell you all about it. Here we go. Weekend Review. Well, this week, as you may have known in New Jersey, it rained like a lot. And it doesn't want to play, but the rain was raining, and it poured and poured for days. So I'm so happy it's still raining out here in New Jersey. So if you're on the East Coast, we know that our friend, our good friend over there, Christine, was in the middle of the hurricane. I know the hurricane is coming up as a tropical storm now to the East Coast today and tomorrow. So everybody stay safe. We're happy Christine is here and Christine is safe. It was sunny. The dog was out. The sun was shining. Clarence was Clarencing. And then literally I got home from work and this was me. From the car to the door in the driveway. So holy moly, it poured. And we also celebrated, as we've been talking a lot about my personal life, we celebrated a year and a half together. Knowing Darius, it will be 3 years and a year and a half officially together. So here's our first picture we ever took. And happy 1.5 years and a lifetime to go. And he is worth it. And we are amazing. And we're both pretty worth it. He thinks he looks big in this picture. He is the tallest, skinniest, most handsome man ever. And when I first met him and I was booked for Motor City Pride, he walked up Hart Plaza in downtown Detroit. And I just thought he was the most beautiful thing ever. So, so grateful for this journey and the next step. So happy year and a half. And why do I celebrate halves? Because I celebrate every day, because life is short and precious and we all need to celebrate the good. We focus on so much nonsense. There's more good than there is bad. There's more happy than there is sad. There's more joy than there is, so we got to celebrate it. So kudos. So that was earlier this week as well. I got to, it's a little emotional of a week for me, and it's been a little bit draining to be at NJ Pack, to be packing, to be planning for both of us. And I've been saying some see you laters because there's no goodbyes, and we're keeping upbeat and positive. We're all good things. But I did go over and see my buddy, little Sam. Sam is going to be 8, and I've been around him for almost 7.5 years. And Darius got him a magic set. So he opened the magic set the other day, and we FaceTimed. He taught me how to make hearts on FaceTime the other day. He calls me, he FaceTimes me. So it was a bittersweet, and I hope to see him this weekend. I'm going to see my friends and then have a big finale with my family before this see you later road trip begins on Monday. That's why we're looking for your car ride games. So tell me your car ride games. Let me know what you suggest. So I did Broadway Bears. Broadway Bears is my favorite event. Speaking of Broadway, Broadway Cares is what we're talking about with Mark MacKillop today. And Broadway Bears is Bernadette. Broadway Barks is Broadway Bears is what Mark does. Broadway Barks is an event that Bernadette Peters started with Mary Tyler Moore. And they donate they find homes for dogs, and people donate money to animal shelters, and they get some of the best Broadway stars. We had great coverage of it last year, and today's show was supposed to be my time at Broadway Barks, but the rain canceled it. Bernadette Peters went on stage with Sutton Foster. They sang one song, and thunderstorms happened. They had 3,000 people in the middle of Schubert Alley, and the event was canceled. So we were set up, cameras in the rain, reporters were running, Broadway World and Playbill, and everybody was trying to cover their expensive cameras, and the event got canceled. But before it got canceled, I did get to see the Great Dane. That's my favorite shelter, is the Great Danes. They are so enormous, and they are so cute. I love them so much. So if you are looking for a new pet, you can go to BroadwayBarks.org. You can find the shelters in the tri-state area, and you can save the life of a dog that needs some love and companionship, especially when they're a little bit older. And if you're looking to extend your family, then that's definitely a great way to go. And what Bernadette Peters does, and what the great late Mary Tyler Moore did with her for 21 years, is get these dogs a home. So I'm so sad we didn't get a chance to chat, but so many of our Broadway Roundtable friends were all there, and I got to see them and say, hey, but the weather kiboshed our event. So stinks, but it was definitely something special always every year. I saw this the other day and I thought it was so funny. This was a Tesla I saw, and did you see the license plate? It says, I bought this before we knew Elon was crazy. Oh my goodness. Oh man, not political and all. We will talk a little bit about politics when we talk about SNL in a few minutes, but how funny is that bumper sticker? Believe it or not, I cracked me up. I had to take a picture of it for sure. So the week was good. It's a lot of packing. I have to shout out, my mother is here. Shout out to my mama Rose, who is a champion of packing, driving me. My car got tuned up, fixed. She took care of me. My dad took the car to get fixed too. My mom is here. She's packing. She's taping. Moms are mobs, and moms are going to be here and roll out and stroll out and do what they got to do. Darius and I love her to pieces, and we definitely shout out. I know my brother and sister-in-law love her to pieces too. So thank you, Mama Rose, for all your help. Hi, Aunt Fran. Hi, everybody who's watching in my family, my grandmother. I love you all so, so much. That was that. Yes, thank you all for that. And it's time for the shameless plug.
'Cause I'm shameless.
Well, I want to talk to you about upcoming shows over here. You know, the Roundtable is on every single day over at the Broadway Podcast Network. You can watch us and, well, I guess you listen, technically. You can listen to us. You can go to BroadwayPodcastNetwork.com. Some of my favorite episodes that you don't get to see here on YouTube or on Facebook are over there every single day. Just yesterday, we put up a chat with McKinley Belcher III. He was a star of Ozarks. He was in Death of a Salesman on Broadway. And he was just in a show on Netflix that got crazy great reviews. And he's blown up to be a big star. He has a beautiful relationship with his husband that he's very open and honest about on the show. And he is definitely somebody to watch as the next thing. So McKinley is over there. We talked to him last year, but it's an encore presentation over on the podcast network. I also have a great chat over there with a brother and sister. She's a singer named Rex Dean, and she's an author named Laura Pritchard. They're from Salt Lake City, and he writes about the environment, and she writes novels about the environment. They have a brand new song and album that goes along with a book that she wrote. So if any of these things, if you want to know more about art and artists, you can look at our YouTube channel. Or if you're a podcast person who goes to the gym or takes a car ride, especially down the Jersey Shore this summer or on vacation, check out BroadwayPodcastNetwork.com, where there's new content every day. We stay busy. We stay busy here, for sure. Also, on Fridays, the Roundtable has an exclusive chat every single week on Broadway World. We are the #1 podcast on Broadway World. We have more views. Thousands and thousands of people tune in on Fridays, and I'm so incredibly grateful because when you do this every day, sometimes I think it's the 10 of us or 12 of us that comment. We don't know the reach that this has, and people comment and send me messages. That keeps me going. So every Friday afternoon, an episode of me goes on Broadway World. This week, Bianca Lee of the smash hit Oh Mary is going to be here. She's a trans advocate. She has done things like starred in Transamerica. She's done a lot of theater. She's done a lot of television. And now the show Oh Mary, about Abraham Lincoln's wife, Mary Todd Lincoln, in a satire and farce, talks to me exclusively on Broadway World about what it was like to be in this show with Conrad Ricamora, Cola Scola, and now selling out on Broadway, 100% capacity. It's a very powerful conversation. And do I get her to cry? Yes, I do. We both had the same acting teacher. So, you know, you bring up those acting school days and you get somebody to cry. But every Thursday, as you know, here we are here live. And next week, my first show in Detroit is going to be a big gay old time. August 15th. I hope you join us. I'll have a lot to say. Drag superstar Sherry Vine will be here. She's got a brand new show on Out TV, a variety special with your favorite drag queens. And Tim Murray is doing a stand-up tour called Witches across this country. He's a queer stand-up comic who's blowing up. And he comes to the Roundtable to exclusively talk about his 30-city concert tour of gay stand-up. What can possibly happen? I have no idea, but I'm scared and I'm here for it. So that's the 15th. And the 22nd American Idol winner, singer-songwriter David Cook, Gotta Leave the Light On When I'm Gone. If you remember that song and all that he did on Idol, he's going to tell you what he's up to. He has a new album and tour dates. So the Roundtable, I'm not going anywhere. Will you think I'm leaving? Woo! And as always, you can stream my music, Unfinished Business, my new single, How Deep Is Your Love, the Rewind album. All of that stuff is available wherever music is heard. Here you go. Oh, I did have a picture of Broadway Barks in the rain. Oh, no, I don't. Hold on. Pause. So many pictures. I did a lot of work on this show today. I tried really hard. Oh, you want to make my husband embarrassed? Look at this. Are you okay out there? Oh, my goodness gracious. We love a right back at you. You are gifts to me, all of you. Thanks, Mom. We love you. And hi, Aunt Fran. I see you out here too. Thanks for being here. Let's keep it moving. Are you ready? Shall we? Shall we? Shall we? What's up next? Hey, friend. Hey, let's do it.
I'll be there for you. How you doing?
Well, you know, the show is Broadway. This show is stand-up. This show is television. This show is drag queens. This show is gospel. I love gospel music, and I love artists, and I love when our R&B queens come on. I love when our old school artists come on, and I love when gospel artists come on. And I hope this show is a little bit of, no matter what you are, who you are, your sexual orientation, your gender, your religion, your political beliefs, where you live in this country, that art is for everybody and art speaks to all sorts of people and it's inclusive of all people. And I love when gospel artists come on the show. The Stellar Awards were the other day, and Tamla Mann is supposed to be on again. We had a problem when she was on a couple weeks ago, but we're rescheduling that for next week, and she'll be on in the coming weeks. Her album comes out in October. But the Stellar Awards had some of our favorite Roundtable friends. So I wanted to say, hey, friend, hey to our friends. Firstly, shout out to my Detroit brethren, sister here, Kiara Clark Sheard, winner of Best Contemporary Female Gospel Artist this year. It aired on BET last weekend. She was there in green, and she was winner performing with her mother, Karen Clark, and she won. So kudos to her. We love Angel Taylor. She was in Trinity 5-7. And now she's a solo artist, and she was a presenter, and she is so gorgeous and so sweet. Why I love Angel Taylor is when my Rewind album came out, she sent me a DM on Instagram and listened to it and loved the sound and loved the vibe. So I love people who love and support each other. That is a rare thing in this business. So shout out to Angel Taylor. And my girl, Marette Brown Clark, I love her so much. She came in full fuchsia, done from head to toe. I love her voice. I love her style. We had the only Kiki together. She presented and her album is out. She had a ton of nominations. She's a superstar and we love her. So kudos to all of them, looking so nice, so done up. Love all of that for pieces. My favorite things is coming up, and we're gonna talk about what Darius is talking about. Let's hit it. Are you ready? So, as Darius asked my mom here in the comments section, he says, "Mom, do you know Robert had me go see Shrek for him?" OMG. Yes, he did. And do you know that Darius went on a school night when he had to go to work the next day? And do you know the show started at 7:30 and ended at 10? And he did it for me. Yes, he did. Our roving reporter out there in the Motor City saw Shrek. He said that the person playing Fiona, the person that played Lord Farquaad, the Shrek, the donkey, the whole event, the families that were out, thousands and thousands of people came out to Fisher Theater. And him and his cousin Deidre had a grand old time. I can't wait to be at their next show in September, which is Moulin Rouge, which is going to be another date night. It's going to be an official date night as I see my first show in Detroit. Shout out to all of the friends and family that are out there. If you're in Detroit, Catrice is watching. If you're in Detroit, BroadwayInDetroit.com has an entire lineup of shows, from Moulin Rouge to A Beautiful Noise, the Neil Diamond musical, to Come From Away. There is shows galore. MJ's coming. The Wiz is coming. Kimberly Akimbo is coming. They know how to get things done over there at the Fisher Theater and the Detroit Opera House. And I will be at the Detroit Opera House in September to see Moulin Rouge on tour. So I thank you, Darius. Thank you, Deidre, for going on a school night. Thank you for showing us love to the wonderful people over there at Broadway in Detroit. And we will be a proud PR press representative for Broadway in Detroit. They also are people who have a booth and help with Motor City Pride. They're out in the community. So we love that about them. They were showing Some Like It Hot, I saw on their Instagram page, over in downtown Detroit today. So in Campus Marshes. So they're out there in the street trying to add art into the community, into a city that loves art, is famous for art. So thanks to them for bringing theater to the city of Detroit. I can't wait to show you what's going on. And I can't wait there to see shows with Darius. And then when he wants to go to bed and not stay out late, I'll take his sister or Deidre or someone else. Anyone? You ready? Come see a show with me? Because I know some nights he's going to say, "Robert, please go enjoy." He works so hard. He gets up early. So I appreciate you for doing that and going to see Shrek. And we have more to come for sure. Another one of my favorite things as we talk about this is Saturday Night Live. And I told my students that I would talk about this on the show. Saturday Night Live comes back in September. God only knows what Saturday Night Live is going to be like. The cold open, the opening of Saturday Night Live with the presidential election in full swing going on. I saw that Maya Rudolph is back as Kamala Harris. She signed on for the season to play Kamala Harris, and people are calling for Steve Martin to play Governor Walz and the resemblance of them is what people are calling for, and I can't wait to see what hijinks they have. What they didn't know at work, and maybe I'd never have talked about this on the show, is that I wear this shirt. It was given to me. I spent 3 years at Saturday Night Live. It was the best part-time job that I ever had, because I got to do a rehearsal during the week and spend Saturday at 30 Rock and be a part of the show. I did 3 years, 26 episodes. I've done everything from play violin to be a military soldier, to be in a Trump rally, to be a press corps member, to play bass guitar, to be in the jury. I've done everything. The checks still come. Saturday Night Live treats you well. So when you're watching these and you see me pop up, they're real. They are real. That was a time I did it till COVID. And then I decided that was it. I started teaching and all of that stuff. But, if you see me over here with Alec Baldwin, what's funny is there's no private bathrooms at SNL. So if this sketch here, I would go to the bathroom and then Alec Baldwin would be in there as Trump. Or when they had Steve Bannon on the show as the Grim Reaper, and I was Robert Bannon, and in the scene, I went up to the guy who plays Steve Bannon, and I was like, "Oh, are you my uncle?" Like, it was funny. It became a running joke. They were so nice to me there. They treated us so well there. The first, and it's crazy how we're living in the same bizarro world, kind of. The first episode I did was the Muslim ban by Donald Trump, where TSA, it's 16 million views. It was on Vanity Fair, and they were looking for someone to play a suspicious white male, almost like a skinhead look, scary. And they asked me to shave my head. I was at my mom's house. We went to Supercuts. They shaved my head, and I filmed my first episode, and they always remembered me as the guy who shaved his head. So I got the job, that I was always there. So if you ever saw the Welcome to TSA, where all of these beautiful people of color are not allowed to go onto the airplane, but I do, holding this very scary looking possible gun, that was me. That's me against type. Or if you ever saw Electric Shoes with Kenan Thompson, that's me with the wig, with the Beatles wig over at SNL. Or if you ever saw Harry Styles and Jimmy Fallon singing Party Down at My House, that's me playing the fake violin. Or if you ever saw Melissa McCarthy in the press secretary dressed as Sean Spicer in the podium, driving the podium into the press corps, that's me. That's Melissa McCarthy. That's me. So shout out to SNL. They work so hard. They put magic on that set. And that was an amazing 3 years. And they asked me to come back sometimes, but I'm booked and busy and working. But it was so much fun. I got to work with so many amazing people. And it's the things like that until the kids say to me, "Wow, you were on Saturday Night Live," or "I saw your YouTube channel and there's videos of you on Saturday Night Live," that I even forget that we did this. We live such complicated sometimes lives, and we move on to the next thing, and I do shows and I sing and I'm teaching and I'm doing all the things. But thank you for listening to that, because I forget. But on Saturday nights at 11:30, there's nothing more fun than to be in that cold open and walk to your car and have people texting you and seeing that they saw you, because that show is literally the water cooler of it all. So yes. Steve Martin would be perfect for Tim Waltz. It will be an epic SNL for sure. Yes, Catrice, Catrice, full of surprises. I'm full of surprises out here. Oh, screenshot is happening. Oh, which one? Is it this one? You like this one? Is it the wig? Or is it the skinhead look? Because I could show you more. I got more. We got more. You've never lived until you've seen Billie Eilish pet a goat, or the Jonas Brothers eating a cheese sandwich. That's crazy things happen at SNL for sure. Lots of fantastic opportunities at SNL. It was really great. That's how I got my SAG card. I got my equity card, and they treat you right over there. So shout out to everybody who works on Saturday Night Live. The kids asked me what I think of Pete Davidson today. Very talented, very, oh my Lord. I can't with this man. He's to answer the question that you all had earlier that I posed, I got 2 answers, which thank you for the people who answered. What do you all do on a car ride? And what are your ideas? Well, the ideas that we had from some of us are, Catrice is after my own heart. Catrice said that pack plenty of food. Yes, all the fun snacks. Calories don't count in a car ride, right, Catrice? Get those snack games on and do it. Yes, I'm here for it. I love that. That sounds like a good idea to me. My mom has bought us some snacks and some treats and some stuff, I know for sure. Christine says she takes the train 12 hours to New York a few times a year, usually talk with others. Oh, Christine, God bless you. Because if you could talk to strangers on a train, you are doing the Lord's work. Listen to music, get caught on the virtual shows, and respond to messages, emails, rest, snack, even games. See, that sounds good. That sounds really good. Virtual shows. Oh, and listen to music. That sounds good. We are definitely going to sing our way across this country with Darius in the car. So I'm looking forward to it. We're going to have a lot of fun. It's going to be something that you live one time, special one time in your life, that we get to start this journey together. I'm so grateful he's flying in to come with me. That's right. Correct, Catrice. So when I was growing up, our guest today is a wonderful artist named Mark MacKillop. He jumped in. My mom says she listens to tunes and laughs and sings. Well, there'll be lots of singing. There'll be lots of laughing on the show for sure. That I can promise you. We will be laughing and singing. And Darius sings, everybody. Sings. Alyssa says, podcast. She loves a good crime podcast. We did an interview with the people who wrote and created crime podcasts. So we got to make sure that you listen to them for sure when you need a good crime podcast. That's good to know. He says, Electric Shoes is saved and I cracked. I knew that was the one. It's the hair. It's the hair. It's the hair. It's giving cheek. You know what the honor it was to walk down those stairs? That set is staged at the opening monologue seat. So we walked down the stairs and I was like, oh my God, before we start, they say there's 12 million people watching. Please do not fall down the stairs. Please do not fall down the stairs. I'm supposed to look at the camera, play fake bass guitar, have a wig in my head and play and give face and cheekbones and do it. And I was like, please don't trip and fall on national television. My Lord, the things we do. Hi, JT Holden. How you doing, friend? I listen to cast recordings, Phantom, Wicked, Rent, Kinky Boots, among others. 2 shows in, and I'm usually halfway to my destination. That's fun. Phantom's fun. Wicked is fun. My students are singing Loathing. There's a strange exhilaration. There's such total detestation from Wicked in their show on Saturday. And Rent is near and dear to my heart. I did Rent and played Roger, so I get that and appreciate that. And Kinky Boots is another good one, especially about the dads and Darius, I will send you the whole video of Electric Shoes. You could screenshot all the embarrassing pictures. Growing up, you could ask my mom, who's here, that one of my favorite events as a young theater nerd in New York City was Broadway Cares Flea Market. The Broadway Cares Flea Market is an event that all the shows sell autographed playbills, autographed merchandise. Stars come. You could pay to take a selfie and take a picture. And at 10, 11, and 12 years old, a lot of the people I waited to meet have been on this show, which is so surreal. And every year they do the Broadway Flea Market and Grand Auction, Sunday, September 22nd in the Theater District. And it is already booked and set for this year. As you know, Broadway Cares Equity Fights AIDS. AIDS is the union and this organization that not only runs fights for HIV awareness and treatment for people who don't have money for medicine or for testing or for PrEP medication. But they also fight the stigma, and they also fund the Entertainment Fund, which is a fund that during COVID in particularly helped out of work actors. So when you go to a Broadway show and they have the buckets for you to donate money, or you buy a signed playbill, or you see the red ribbons, the Equity Cares Fights AIDS ribbons, that money is going to the community at large. So many people were lost through that pandemic in the 70s and 80s. And then now researching it so that people can live long, undetectable lives. Well, it is something that is very near and dear to many people in the community, to me and you and everybody who is a part of anybody in any community, because this doesn't have any kind of stigma. It's not a disease against a certain type of person. It is something that we all need to still remember and be a part of, and also help artists who are out of work. So the organization has evolved and grown to being bigger. They raise tons, millions and millions of dollars a year and put the money to good use. Well, the biggest single fundraiser, not a Broadway show, not a celebrity, but the biggest single fundraiser is a man named Mark MacKillop, who has toured. He's done Anastasia. He's done Dirty Dancing. He's a theater guy. He has done all of these things. he has come up with very creative ways to make money because he models and poses and sells garments of his clothing. But he also gets things for Broadway shows and sign things. He has raised, are you ready? Well, let me tell you. Robbie Rozelle is a good friend of him, and Robbie said he has a show and I would love for him to be on the Roundtable. When Broadway Barks fell through, I said, Mark, this is it. We need Mark to come on the show. He has a brand new show coming to New York on Labor Day called Not Broadway's Mark MacKillop, which is so funny that he's not been on Broadway yet, but he's owning it on September 2nd. And we got to give him kudos for raising over $600,000. What? $600,000. Just him raising that money. $600,000. I talked to him this lunch break. Mark MacKillop is at the Roundtable. All right, so I have a couple of, I didn't tell our next guest this, but I have beef right from the go. I have beef with Mark. A, he stole my music director for his show because Yaz is my music director, which I stole from Robbie Rozelle, but that's besides the point. Secondly, Mark has done shows at every venue in New York City with this litany of guests, Broadway stars, Tony winners, cabaret legends, and I've never been invited to sing at his show. I'm none of those things, but the point is, Mark has raised $1 quadrillion for our favorite charity, which is Broadway Cares. We'll talk about that. And Mark has a show coming September 2nd. All jokes aside, he's devoted a lot of his artistic life to raise money to Broadway Cares Equity Fights AIDS. And even if he hasn't invited, I mean, me on a bill could at least add it $3, maybe. Mark MacKillop, welcome to the round table.
You can't. Thank you for. I'm just like off camera dying here. Like, what an introduction.
I just wanted you to know that all of those statements I feel are fact.
Okay. Well, let's address some of them. You talked about I've been doing shows for 10 years in New York City. I just saw, I went to see O'Mary last night and I ran into a friend and he was like, when are you doing your next show? And I said, oh, September 2nd. Not Broadway's Mark MacKillop, blah, blah, blah. And he goes, yeah, I came to your last one, I think. And I was like, which one? He was like, the one you did at 54 Below. That was 10 years ago. I was like, so it's been a while. So I was like, maybe you should come to this one. Yeah, no, I've been doing shows for like my own shows for 10 years in New York City. And I've been around for a long time. And when you've been around that long, you just you meet people. And, so I've just met and befriended a lot of people in New York City. So I'm able to call them up. And especially when I'm donating the money to charity, most of them, like when I do my own one-man shows, I pretty much take all that money and donate it to Broadway Cares. So when there's that added bonus, it's it becomes easier to have people, stars, come and join you. And I've been very fortunate in that way.
Well, we're here to talk specifically about not Broadway's Mark MacKillop. I love it's September 2nd. It's at the Marjorie S. Dean Little Theater. It's off-Broadway. The money is going to Broadway Cares Equity Fights AIDS. I'm obsessed with this photo because it's in front of the Hello Deli, right there by where they filmed The Late Show. What is a Mark show like?
So I remember going to see people's cabaret shows and being so
bored.
Like,
You've come to my show then, Mark. No,
I mean, like, unless, and I always drop her name because I'm obsessed with her. Unless you're like Patti LuPone, like like most people don't really like care. Like they're like, oh, my humble upbringings and like blah blah blah. Like we're like, okay, cool, sing songs, like thrill me, entertain me. That's what I want. Like, so a lot of times people are like, well, this next song comes from this really trying time I had. When I was going through my second year of musical theater school. It was a really, really hard time in my life. And I'm like, what are we doing here? So my shows have always just been really dumb because that's the kind of show I want to see. I want to be entertained. So like my very first one-man show was a 10-step guide on how to become Instagram famous. And it was sung through the music of the 80s, 90s, and 2000s. And it was just like this, it was dumb. Like I think at the time I had maybe 20,000 Instagram followers. And I was like, how to become famous? Like, I'm an idiot. So like, that was the first show. And then the second show was Telsey, Can You Hear Me? because I felt like I wasn't getting any jobs. So I recreated the Yentl poster and put my face on it. And a week after doing the show, I got called in by Chelsea and I booked the Anastasia First National Tour. So my shows have always been stupid, but kind of with a purpose. So now we're here 10 years later. I mean, the third show was Body by Taco Bell. I pretended to be an Instagram life coach where I gave out really shitty life advice to my guests. And now we're here. And so this one's not Broadway's Mark MacKillop. And like I said, I've been around for so long. Like I've done interviews for things and they're like, oh, Broadway's Mark MacKillop. And I'm like, no, I don't claim that. Like I know that I am not. I've never been on Broadway. I booked tour after tour after tour. But I've never actually been on Broadway. So I decided to do this one, not Broadway's Mark MacKillop, because whenever you're at, and it's been a running joke in my show for a while, whenever I introduce myself, I'm like, welcome to the stage, not Broadway's Mark MacKillop, because everyone, when they introduce their guests, they're like, oh, this is Broadway's Jelani Remy, you know, or this is so-and-so. And it's kind of, and it's an honor, because being on Broadway is a hard thing to do. It's not everyone can get there. And I haven't done it yet. And I'm not ashamed of that. I've done a lot of other things in my career. And I've done a lot of cool things for the community, like raising all this money. But like, so I'm not ashamed of not getting there yet. I mean, I know it'll happen at some point in time. Everything happens the way it's supposed to. But I thought I would just take the joke and put it on myself, like I always do. I love self-deprecating humor. So yeah, so that's what we're doing with this show. I'm just kind of, one of my friends said, like, why are you doing this? And I was like, because I always do. I love to make fun of myself. Because if you make fun of yourself first, then everyone has to laugh along instead of making fun of you. And I think that's how I got through elementary and middle school. Let me tell you.
I hear that. These come on, all our queer babies. I get it. It makes us resilient and funny, but it also humbles and humanizes people. We get to see ourselves through you.
Well, and that's also the thing. Like I said, like I think a lot of people's shows take themselves too seriously, and I don't want to get ahead of myself. And even people who are stars on Broadway, I think sometimes need to be reminded that outside of these like 16 blocks and like a handful of like theater nerds who I love, most people don't know who you are. So it's just like, I remember I was at an opening night party and I walked up to this guy who had just won a Tony Award. And I was like, hey, you were wonderful in this show, blah, blah, blah. I was like, but I'm so sorry. Like, please remind me your name. And he was so offended. And I was like, hey, throw her name in again. I was like, baby, you're not Patty LuPone. I was like, not everyone knows who you are. I was like, I saw you in the show. You were great. I'm giving you a compliment. And I'm just asking you what your name is. But yeah, I think sometimes we just need to remind ourselves that like, we're just actors. And outside of the theater community, most people don't know who we are. So a lot of people don't know who I am. So I take the piss on myself. You know, I put the joke on myself.
I can give 3 names of who that person was, but I won't.
We're not doing that. No, you're trying to get me in trouble.
No, not
I can do that on my own. Thank you very much.
Never. What I loved about your advertising is that you have embraced the trollation of the times we live in. You were told by a random stranger that you are a wannabe, Mark.
Yeah, I am. Well, and I'm not ashamed of it. It's one of those things. I think in the day and age of social media, everyone has an opinion. And I have lots of them. But it's funny, like, because I put myself out there so much, people will come to my posts who don't follow me, and they're like, who are you? Why should I listen to you? And I'm like, my name's at the top of my profile. And this person was like, had to Google you and blah, 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 blah. And you're nobody, you're a major wannabe. So I took that quote and I use it as like musicals do right after the Tony noms. They're like, I blast that stuff all over. I don't care.
Well, I think it's for someone to care enough to look you up, Google you, and then comment that you are. I think that just shows that you are something.
I think they might be obsessed with me. No, it's funny because he called me a major wannabe, so I use that as a tagline for my poster. But I just wrote a song for my show called Dear Hugh Jackman, The Lament of a Major Wannabe Nepo Baby. And it's essentially me just like begging Hugh Jackman to adopt me so that I can get ahead in the business. But I wrote that the other day for the show. It's in September. But I thought I would throw in his a little throw to his troll quote. So that's now in the title of the song that I'm debuting as well.
Well, if you want to get your tickets September 2nd, hear that song and see a wanna be something in New York City, then you can go to Mark. You can go to his Instagram page where the link is in the bio, or you could go the website's Ovation Tickets through the theater. But where's the easiest way for people to find a way to get tickets?
I mean, go to my Instagram. There's a link in my bio. It'll take you right to the Marjorie Esteem Little Theaters page. Yeah, you can buy tickets there, and 100% of the ticket proceeds are going to Broadway Cares.
So can we talk about this? Because I'm obsessed. And can you raise money for me just to have in my bank account?
Oh
because
God, I wish I could do it for myself. Because trust me, there are days when I look and I'm like, well, you know, we're not getting the side of fries today.
$600,000 from you. From
me
your
personally. Well, this year I raised $212,000, so that brought my final total to $625,000. Since for the last 10 years, yeah, because I started doing Broadway Barks 10 years ago. So it's been 10 years, and so my goal is $1 million. We're gonna get there. I guess I'll probably have to raise my goal as soon as I hit that.
Yeah. So here's my $1 million question for you. Well, I know the answer for me. I think that Broadway Cares. I think that the fight against HIV, their fight against HIV and other things, if it's natural disasters, if it's through COVID, but their primary focus is we have changed the face of HIV in this country. People have long, non-detectable lives. There's medication that is PrEP. There's medication. There's testing that's free and affordable. Broadway Cares was at the forefront of this for decades. So why this organization? Why is it personal for you that you have put an effort behind?
So when I first moved to New York City, I always tell this story. I was a struggling actor, didn't have health insurance. I got sick. I lost my voice. I couldn't sing, which means I couldn't audition, which means I couldn't work. Because if you're not in the business, you have to work a certain amount of weeks to qualify for health insurance through our union. So I got really sick, and there is luckily. It was called the Actors Fund. It's now called the Entertainment Community Fund. And it's funded by Broadway Cares. So they got me seen by a doctor and got me healthy again. So my philosophy is if you take from the pot, you refill it so that there's more for people who come after you. So I'm overfilling my pot and I just keep putting into it because I have the ability to. And I like the fact that I can harness the power of my social media and use it for good. And it's gotten to the point now that so many people know what I'm doing. Like the way I do it, the way I raise the money is it kind of started out with underwear auctions and stuff like that, and I still do those. But things have kind of morphed into me collecting like opening night playbills from musicals and plays and show posters and movie posters, and I get stars to sign them. And this past year, I just kind of slid. Usually I go through friends who are in the shows and ask them favors. This year, I did that as well, but I also just kind of slid into a lot of people's DMs, and I think a lot of people are starting to realize what I'm doing, and are just really, really receptive and wanting to help, which I think is wonderful. Like I just posted this story. I was in Boston to see Queen of Versailles with Kristen Chenoweth, and I was walking in the lobby to get my rush ticket, and this gentleman who was standing working the merch counter was like, "Mark?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "Oh my God, I have something for you." And he like went into his merch table and pulled out 2 opening night Queen of Versailles playbills, and he's like, "Use them for your fundraising." And I was just like, it was just like the most emotional thing, because I was like, "Oh my God, like people see what I'm doing, which is cool." I'm gonna cry. You're gonna make me cry on your show, Jesus. But yeah, so it's kind of, that's just kind of what it's become, and it's become this great thing. And one of my friends was like, "Well, now Broadway Cares knows what you're doing so much." He's like, "Why don't you just have them get things for you?" And I was like, I love asking people to help, because it creates community. And yes. You know, even just in a small way, like I like going around it, like even going up to the star of your show, who may be a movie star that just happens to be on Broadway, for like a couple months, and they're like, hey, will you please sign them? My friend raises all this money for Broadway Cares. Like that's cool that like a community is started with people who are coming together to do good for others. And that makes me happy. I love being a part of that.
Well, I was a kid, Broadway Cares holds a special place in my heart. I was a kid who loved theater. I was born in New Jersey. And, every year my parents took me to the Broadway Cares flea market, and I would take my money to buy, playbills and meet the stars and take pictures and all of that stuff. And as I've gotten older and seen that those buckets and that money and Broadway Bears and all of the events that they do all year long go to actual people, like the money and the research goes to support a community, not just on Broadway, but in this whole country. The money that they raise helps an entire community of people to get access to medical care, medication, research, and support people who need it. So you're really doing God's work out here, Mark.
Thank you. It makes me happy, and I love, like I said, I love being able to harness the power of my social media and to bring people together to do good for others. I think that there's no greater joy for myself than being able to do that. And it makes me happy. And it makes me feel like I'm, while I'm not on Broadway, that I'm doing something with my life. Yeah, it was funny when you talk about the troll comments. Someone came to one of my posts for my fundraising during like my heavy Broadway Bear season when I was like pushing to fundraise. And they commented, they're like, do you even do Broadway? Or do you just raise money for Broadway Bears? And so like, that's the thing. I'm like, well, with this show, I'm kind of doing both. It's off-Broadway, but you know what? I'm performing and doing good. And that makes me happy.
You sure are. And you'll be singing on Broadway's Mark MacKillop. It's coming September 2nd. Grab your tickets. Make sure you come. All the money's going to Broadway Cares.
100%.
Now, we did the nice emotional part of this conversation. We started shady, then we got sweet. To get shady again, Mark.
Oh, God, I'm scared.
No, this is in the words of your press release.
Oh, that is true. I did write that.
For the record, Paper Magazine calls you one of the greatest performers on the planet, which we have verified. I mean, people love a Mark show. But then it says, and why a redacted name cabaret space rejected you.
Yeah, so as you said, I performed in all these spaces in New York City. I've done 54 Below, I've done Birdland, I've done Chelsea Table and Stage, I've done Green Room. So I reached out to one of the last spaces that I haven't performed in and sent them an email, and I laid all that up for them too. I was like, hey, I've done these shows, I've sold them out. And also I've raised, at the time, I've raised over $500,000 for Broadway Cares. I was like, I would love to do my next show there. And on the exact same day that the Paper Magazine article came out, because Mickey Boardman, who's a fabulous friend, reached out and wanted to include me in that list of the most fabulous performers on the planet, which included like Shoshana Bean and Cindy Lauper and Countess Luann. Like it was all these fabulous people, and I was very honored to be a part of it because they wanted to feature me in my work with Broadway Bears and Broadway Cares, and so I brought along two friends to be in the photo shoot with me, and so the exact same day that article came out was the day I got the rejection letter from the cabaret space, and all they wrote was, "We'll pass. Hope you find a venue." And so I made an Instagram reel because I go to social media, made an Instagram reel where I was like, hey, the irony is not lost on me. The exact same day this article comes out, I get this rejection. And, it just keeps you humble. That irony, that's funny to me. That is funny. And so I was like, if anyone knows of a venue where I can do my next show, not Broadway's Mark MacKillop, let me know. And the Marjorie S. Dean Little Theater's Instagram account wrote me and was like, we'd love to have you do your show with us. And so, I went from just thinking I was going to be doing another cabaret space to making my Off-Broadway debut. And so that is a perfect example of the universe giving you exactly what you need when you're supposed to have it. So I can't be mad. I had to giggle. And it's funny, and I won't say their name, a Broadway star I was chatting with, Tony Award-winning Broadway star, because I asked them to be in my show, and they were like, she was like, she goes, that makes me mad. And I was like, I'm not famous, really. I was like, I'm just kind of delusional. I was like, so it makes sense. Like, I've never been on Broadway. They probably want Broadway talent at this particular cabaret venue. And she was like, that makes me angry. And I was like, you know what? It's fine. It's like I said, everything happens the way it's supposed to. And yeah. So.
And now it's an upgrade because now you have a bigger venue, you have an off-Broadway theater, you have your show, and it's perfect for a holiday weekend. It's perfect for the end of the summer, before people go back to school, before people go back to work, when you have one last moment to be together before the fall hits us. This is the perfect opportunity, and the money goes to such a great. Nobody does cabaret to get rich. No one. Mark,
no, I know. I realized that years ago, and that's why I donate the money that I do make. Because I mean, I have friends who have their own shows, and they have lots of guests, and they pay their singers, which is wonderful. I like I said, it's easier to get people to volunteer their time and their talents if they know that the money is going to do good, and because we know the good that Broadway Cares does. It's a great way to have like super famous, awesomely, amazingly talented people come and sing. So yeah, this is gonna be a fun little show. I'm very excited to do it. It's a it's a little deprecatory journey through my experience in New York City and theater, and just telling some stories and being silly and funny, and I'm excited.
Well, we're here for it. We're going to follow you on Instagram. We're going to get our tickets. We're all going to check it out, and we'll be ready for you off-Broadway, not on Broadway, on Broadway, wherever you are, Mark. We're here for what you do.
Well, it'll be on social media for a while, I think.
Perfect. Done. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for sharing this, and thank you for all of the money that you have raised for this organization. It means the world.
Well, hopefully we'll raise some more on September 2nd.
Yes, you will. I know that. How great is he? He's such a sweet guy. Him and his people, his friends were there, partner. They so cute, sweet, in his demeanor and his personality about what he's doing and the way he does it, where it's not so serious and we could all laugh and kiki it up together. My Darius says he's a hoot. He was a hoot. What a hoot! And Robbie Rozelle has sung with him and worked with him and done things with him. So you can imagine what the two of them have come up with. We like the hoot of a show around here. Marie, you're so sweet. The Bannon way, he brings out the most amazing energy and emotions from his guests. I don't know if that's true, but you say it, and when you say it, I'm always moved. That's the sweetest compliment about this show. It means a lot to my heart and spirit that you feel that way, and I hope the guests do too. A lot of people ask me how we get these guests. Some of the greatest singers and entertainers and Broadway stars and stuff like that, Tony, Emmy winners and all that stuff, put on good shows, make people, you don't remember this. I don't remember the shows. I don't remember the songs. I don't remember the things, but you remember how people make you feel. So just have guests on and make them feel like they're at home, and they give you better chats for sure. Christine says, I love how Mark pays it forward. He is making a real difference. Wonderful, human, talented, fun, entertaining chat. Thank you. I thought so too. And next week's chat is sure to be entertaining as well. Join me here next Thursday as we are here with Sherry Vine and Tim Murray. It's a gay old time in Detroit. It'll be the first show there, so you better watch out. Yes. Oh, yes. See, Darius agrees. Yes, make a difference. Talented and fun. Thank you. And entertaining. So I was happy that you guys were entertained and had fun. My friend Cleo the cat, or feline friend as he is here, your guests are inspiring. Cheers. And so are you. We all are. We all can inspire. We all have a little bit of us that we can share some love and some light out here. There's a cause. There is something that's near and dear to your heart. And it's not enough sometimes to just sit down. This show was started out of an idea during the pandemic. My music career was started after a change in my life. Acting school I went to at 33 years old. There's something out there that you want to do that you're scared to do. There's a passion. Maybe it's politics. Maybe it's charity. Maybe it's a dog shelter. Maybe it's to, create that business, that Etsy shop. There's something out there that you love. There's something out there that means something to you. And today is as good of a day as ever to take one little mini step to make it forward. And then a couple years later, you can be on a whole other trajectory, a whole nother path. I know that when Mark started, his goal was to be on Broadway. He never would think that in a year or two, he'll have raised $1 million for Broadway Cares Equity Fights AIDS. I know for me, I gave up this dream of being an entertainer and singing and having anything like this many years ago. But here we are as we move forward. And we were doing this, our 115th. I think we have 260 episodes on the podcast and 400 interviews plus over the past few years, not including my other shows. There's something out there that's a passion of yours. And while the world is divisive and mean, and people say some crazy things in press conferences and rallies, you spew hate and racism and homophobia and Islamophobia and all the things that are out there in this world. Our job is to be the light. Our job is to keep shining. Our job is to be inclusive. Our job is to show love. Our job is to include all. Our job is to be open arms and let people feel seen, loved, and appreciated. That's our job. So no matter where you are in this beautiful country or world that we're in, I hope that you see the love. I love you so much. You've been on this journey with me for 2+ years. This journey takes me to the Midwest. This journey takes me to Detroit, but this journey does not end me and you. And from Jersey to Michigan and back, I'm so grateful that you're a part of this show. To my mother, we love you, Mama Rose. To my husband, my hubs, to my best friend, to Darius, thank you for taking me in and taking this journey with me and letting the Roundtable continue as we take our journey together. He's a good co-host of this show, and he's not even here. He's not even here, but he's been such a sport about me sharing and spread. He's so much more private than me, and he's such a sport and so supportive, even sitting through Shrek on a school night. And to each and every one of you who have bought a ticket, watched this show, I'm not going anywhere. The show isn't going anywhere. The music and the songs and all of it is not going anywhere. We have a lot more work to do and a lot more love and joy to spread. So there's more good than there is bad. There is more joy than there is sadness, and there is more love than there is hate. Thank you, Christine. Thank you, Alyssa, who did not just have a baby last month. Love the show and its message. You capture the essence of love with all the good you put out there. Ooh, don't get me, Alyssa. Thank you. And to you all, I wish you all the best. The best certainly is yet to come. Let's start. Tomorrow's a brand new day. So if today was not great, if things are hard, if things are tough out here, if you're like Christine who's surviving through a hurricane, then tomorrow's a new day. Tomorrow's a new day. So from me to you, the best is yet to come. I love you all so much for being here. I look forward to joining you next week for another messy edition of the Roundtable. God bless you. Thanks for being here. Good night.